Morena. First of all, apologies for not being there this morning. But I thought what I'd do is walk you through quickly what the next stage of the monster bust is going to be. Now, most of you have already started and have our base here, and we have our armature already built. There is a few of you I think are still needing to do that. So Siru, Suri, anybody else who's already done it, if you guys can give them a hand on the people that need to do it still, on getting their armature bent up and using the drill to drill your holes in through your baseboard and hot gluing it in. Right, so next stage here, once you've got your armature all bent up, is what we're going to start doing is rolling up pieces of paper, newspaper, and using a little bit of masking tape to hold it together, and we're going to start attaching it onto our armature wire. Now, don't get too stressed about this stage. All we're doing is we're building up big forms that then will go in with our paper mache or claycrete, and we'll start sort of filling in the gaps, right? So this is just a stage of working out the big bits. Right, so easy as, we're just going to grab some newspaper, roll it up into a ball, like so, and then all I'm going to do is get a little masking tape and roll it around to create a ball. And it doesn't have to be a tight wad of paper, just enough to have some form. And I'm going to start with down in here. So this shape here I'm going to have as the back, and this is going to be where the chest is going to be, and the top of the head's going to sit here. So we'll just start with adding on where the chest is there. And I'm just going to once again use the masking tape and just tape it on. That's fine to start with. Alright, we can go back and add a little bit more masking tape to hold it down as we get onto it. Right, so next piece I'm going to build, do exactly the same, but what I'm going to do is start with the top of the head. So this is going to be at the top of the skull here. And then I'm going to put a jaw under here in a second. So same thing, I've rolled up a piece of paper. This one's quite small. Now, depending on what you're going to decide with the shape of your monster, whether you might have a long head, you'll make a long, thin portion here. Right, so rather than my ball that I've done there for the top of the skull, you might do a long one there. Right, so we will just tape this on. I'm going to tape it on the top there. Right, and obviously your armature might be slightly different from, well, it will be. It'll be different from mine, but that's what we're going to start with. So there is our chest and the top of our head. Now, the other thing I've made there is I've made a jaw, which is that shape. Right, and what we're going to do is we're going to stick that on the bottom there to create the bottom jaw, this bit. Alright, so the way we do that is get a strip of paper. So I've just got a strip of paper like that. I am going to fold that in half just to create a little bit of strength to it. And remember too, once you get that first bit on, you can add to it. You can put more paper on, you can, if you want it to be thicker or longer, and if you decide that when you make your first one that the jaw's too big or too small, just make another one. Now I'm going to tape one end of this like that, just to keep it together. Then I'm going to figure out how, just kind of bend it around and think, oh, okay, I want my jaw to be about that big-ish. Right, So what I'm going to do is rip that portion off, tape the end, just the end, like that. Now you can either just fold it up and attach it to the side of your head like that, remembering that you might have a long nose on it, or what you can do is fold up the ends, and maybe this would be a good point. Somebody can pop into the office, or maybe Miss Bailey will be able to go into the office and grab the skull, the human skull that has the jaw on it. Right, so what I'm making is I'm going to make a jaw shape there. I'll fold up, I'm just folding up that corner, taping it, and I'm not being too precious about where the tape is. It's just to hold that corner up like that. So folding it like that. Like that. Right. And then what I'm going to do is, here's my funny shaped jaw. I'm going to tape that on to the head. Now once again, you might find that this, once you start getting the other bits and pieces on, the jaw's not big enough, or it's too big, or whatever. Then we can just make another one before we start putting on the Claycrete or the paper mache. Right, so here's my jaw. He's a little bit crooked. That's all right, we can bend him around a bit. Right, next stage, what we're going to do is I'm going to build a forehead that's going to sit around the top. So that's this portion here above the eyes. So we want that to jut out so that they end up being a little bit of a cavity for the eyes to sit in. Right, so what I've done there is I've pretty much done the same thing as the jaw, as I've folded that up, and we're just going to attach that. And we're going to roll it right around the top of the head, like that. It just gives a little bit that's going to stick out. So we'll take that on. I'll take that on like that. Top of his head. Now remember, this is playing, alright? So if it doesn't look right, we'll just move it around and try something different. Try a different shape. Right, so the last thing I'm going to do now with the head is I'm going to build the muzzle portion from here up. Just that portion there, so that it juts out. So for this guy, we probably only need a little bit there, because we'll build the nose shape over the top of that, either with paper mache or Jovi. So the shape that I really want to get in there is a jaw, the top of the jaw. Alright, so let's just roll this bit up. I'm going to fill in that gap there. So just this is a fairly thin bit. But you might want to, actually, I'll just fold that. I'm just going to fold that in half so it's a bit thicker. And then we're going to add it to that front portion there. So at the moment, it kind of looks a bit strange, and its front of the face is going to fall off. But there's the basics of your building your head shape. What'll eventually happen is we'll do another little bit in here, and then maybe another little bit in here, and our eyes are going to sit here and here, and our nose will go on here, and depending on where we play with our teeth, we'll go around here. Then we'll build the skin around it as we go. Obviously the neck, our neck portion's still got to sit in here. That we'll do with rolled up paper as well. We've got to get our back in here, our traps, tricep muscles in here, and then we'll even look at some shoulders there. So I hope that helps for this morning. You guys will have plenty to do and get going, right? And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. All right, thanks guys.